computers. It's very difficult for me sometimes. I mean, as a healer, you understand you affect the other realms. So it's typical for me, but I apologize to others because they don't understand that that can happen. Anyway, hello.
Wonderful. So, for those who are watching live, because we are now live on going live on Facebook, I don't know what you think about this for those who are watching this interview, but this is gonna sound weird, right? And
Yes.
and I don't say this because I'm just thinking about this. This is the motto of this amazing speaker and healer. Her name is Dana Louise. Welcome, Dana.
Thank you. Prazer. Prazer. Como vai você?
Como Bible
Assim
said,
como não.
yes, 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 yes. She speaks many languages, and we are talking in many languages. So, would you like to share with us, Dana, that we are going live in our PhD Healers Network group? Who is Dana, and why she has a very valuable content to share with us here?
Hmm. Okay. So I am a healer. I think this is something as a gift that I would say, healing is an art. And so let's just say some people are Chopin or something like that. They can sit at a piano and tinkle away. Does it mean that you can't do that? You can. It just might be a struggle. I never thought of myself as a healer or anything ever. I began by being interrupted by paranormal and supernatural beings since I was in the crib. And so all of this is very natural for me. I knew also that being connected to them was not natural to other people. Um, why and who then would anyone care about what I have to say? There you go. Other than I have been a contactee since birth, so I feel like there's other components, other beings, other realms, other worlds that saw my spiritual spark or gifts or understanding, being open to understanding that maybe some people are shut down and they can't comprehend that. So it's kind of like if you were walking through the street and say you were desperate for something like where's the bathroom? You know, you would start to search for somebody that was open-minded, looked welcoming, and all these kinds of things. And I just feel that on one side, you can say that is my natural being of who and how I am, and this is how that happened. And so, but I'm going to tell you, I'm no different than anybody else. Nothing that I can do or say or anything is any different for anyone. And I just want to preface that immediately. I'm not whatever, you know what I mean? But thank you.
Wonderful. And how has this natural talent helped you and helped other people so far?
How is it? What with other people? I'm sorry, because
Yes,
my
with
volume is so quiet. I don't know
how
how to
have
bring
you,
it up.
yes, how have you helped yourself and
Oh,
other people through your natural talents?
okay. So here's the thing. I've done training, many healing arts, such as Reiki, this, that, whatever. And that is good. But I never hung out what you call my shingle. I never went professional. I did these things for myself privately. I've done, many medicine ceremonies in my adult life, this and that. Um, but to tell you, um, for me, and this is always for me, this is my filter. This is who and how I am, and everybody is different, so everybody needs to like hear their own piece. um for me, my truth is that um I let go of like being a public healer or anything, because I knew intuitively that true healing and prayer and working in this modality with the energies, it's esoteric, it's secret. So it's that if there was a person that was ill, I simply ask for them, are you okay or open to me praying for you? And that's how I term it. Can I pray for you? And they will say, generally speaking, yes. And I can't say any more, because if I say any more about what goes on after that, or the worlds that I'm working with, it's too much. And then they would probably say, no, thank you. And so the true healing that I do, and this is for all the beginners and all the people, like really, 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 um, it's it's in secret. And I hate to say that. But when I really am doing my work, I don't speak about it to others. I I enjoy what happens. I watch the story and the scenario of healing happening, but it's secret, and it's divinity. It's like spreading kindness. These are all the same frequencies and energies. And so when I spread kindness, open a door for somebody or do something nice, I don't speak about that. I don't tell people about that. I don't post that. And that is healing. And I'm almost very fragile about it. I almost don't want to poke a stick at it, because I almost feel like this is our prayer and it's private. And if we speak about it, it takes away the energy, because it puts it into this world where healing is not of this world, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. That's why we are as we are actually, right? As a human race. Because
Yes.
according to what my teacher and also other teachers said so far, the planet Earth, Gaia, is already evolving to 5D. It's already performing its own evolution.
Yeah.
However, it's the evolution of the planet, not of humankind. Only
Right.
a handful of people are already performing this evolution. What's your message for those people who are thinking about, oh yes, I have a talent, I feel things, I'm too sensitive, I don't know how to use it, I'm too frightened to talk about my gifts. What's your message for those people?
Right. So really, since you invited me to be here, I really felt like, oh, speak to the beginners, speak to the beginners, speak to the beginners. So thank you for that question. Um, First of all, don't listen to me. Don't listen to anyone. Hear your true inner being. Hear not mind, not heart, but your gut. Your gut. Listen to your gut. And also, when like you get a thing or a vision or something, trust that immediately, like what that was. Don't second guess it. Also, you are probably feeling unsure. Did you cause that? Did that happen? All of these questions. And I think this also plays into why we stay secret, um, or quiet about it. It's just that you need to come into an understanding of yourself. You need to embrace yourself, because the divinity and the power and where you could go with this is a private journey. This is stepping into the hero. And also, it's that you're going to doubt yourself. See, and this is why I've done it in secret, because I've done things and it was like, I have been given permission to tell you about one prayer. It was for a little boy. Nobody knew. And I went out and I stood outside, connecting with the energies and everything. And I said my prayers for this boy. And there was a reaction in my environment. And I was like, whoa, like I'm always shocked. And, the boy did have some healing for some time. And everybody's like, oh my God, like it's a miracle. But he was suffering from cancer. And I knew he was going to go, but he wanted to have this moment of feeling healthy and all these kinds of things. So I also want to say, please do not think you have to be perfect as a healer. Please do not think we are human. We are all broken. We all have, whatever. We are of God. Exactly. So there's perfection in that, but we take on this human body and, so please don't sit there and think, I can't do this because I'm not perfect. I can't do this because of my dieteta, like I'm eating this or I'm doing this or all of these judgments. These are judgments. These are judgments on
Limitations.
yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah. Stop judging yourself. Go into center. Stop judging yourself. Just be in love. This is all about frequency. This is all about frequency. And I am going to tell you, here's a key about manifesting frequency. Like, we judge, we think, oh, because I've given some free information about, oh gosh, I don't know how to say this. To shake people up to, like how you can work with the fields, the different environmental fields like water and fire and all these kinds of things in your environment. There is no difference. There's no difference. So please don't think um, a cell, a little cell is any different than our planet. We have judgments about size, and that is not the thing. It's all about frequency. And so when you raise your frequency and you're in the frequency and the flow, that's all you need to know. You don't have to have your perfect nails done or something. There's no perfection. We are imperfect and we can all be here and help each other. So I want to say to the beginners, please don't judge yourself and please don't expect perfection in your life because I think you're going to find when you open up, you're going to find perfection in the realm because you're going to meet with it and you're going to understand more and more. So that's what I want to say to most people is, please don't beat yourself up and don't be judging because that's unkind. I hope that answers that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. For those who are participating in this call, please write down your questions and we will continue to ask them according to the time we have available. Otherwise, feel free to ask here if you want Diane, Ian, Anna, and Juanpi, okay? So, meanwhile, would you like to share how it was possible for you to stop hiding and start to decide to shine?
Mm. Well, here's the problem. This is to be fair, I feel very fragile because I'm just coming out, what I call I'm coming out of the cosmic closet. And this is very real and true. And just so for your people, because I know you are all healers. But from now on, with interviews, I have to speak to people to say, we can't discuss my husband because people are like, well, what does your husband think? Please know that it is I have literally not said anything to anyone. However, all of these witnesses have come forward and seen things with me. And my whole life, I'm like, God, why so many witnesses? Why these witnesses? And now I know why. Because A, I wouldn't believe it. B, who else would believe it? And C, they're a reminder like, Dana, it happened. I'm supporting you. I witnessed this and everything. So, this began when I was in the crib. I was still in diapers, all of this. And I knew in that minute, you can't speak about it. I don't understand how I knew that I couldn't tell my parents, that I couldn't tell this. I gave my sister a little bit of, excuse me, a little bit of shit because, sorry, she was 7 years older than me and she outweighed me and she could sit on me and tickle my feet. But after the aliens came and visited me, she knew I had special powers. There were electrical powers, telepathic powers. There were different powers that I had, and they would last for like 2, 3 days, and then they would wane off. Um, and then this repeated and repeated throughout my childhood, and all these kinds of things. So, you know, and so for me right now, here's the deal. I'm going to be 62 on April 11th, 411 information. And When I started to write the book, well, first of all, I stared at the first page for like 9 months. I mean, because I've been told my whole life by readers and astrologists, you're supposed to write this book. And I was watching Harry Potter and I sat down and I was like, Harry Potter, like my life is more interesting than yours. And then the voice said to me, well, then that's your book, Dana. Because I just downplayed it, downplayed it. I wanted to be normal. I wanted to be, you know, like everybody else. I didn't want this story because it separates me and it makes me sad, because I don't want to be different, I don't. And the voice was like, but you are, and this is your life, and now you have to own it. So I started to write, and like I said, I stared at the first page for 9 months. I wrote for 3 years. In the fourth year, I said, okay, Spirit, whatever you want to say, you can tell me now. Okay. But the reason why I wrote all this, it was for my descendants, because it was upsetting to me to think about everything that I've gone through. If this is going to go down the generations, they need to know about this because this is overwhelming. It's too much. It's the thing. If you read my book, it's way too much. It's too much for me. And I lived it. And I was like, my grandma, my grandmothers probably had the gift, but they never spoke about it. I mean, come on, in the 50s and 60s and 70s, they would never bring that up. They would probably be consumed thinking that they were psychotic. And I understand that, and so I've gone to many, medical fields to be like, am I okay? And they're like, yeah, you're totally fine. I'm like, okay, thank you. But it's like, I had to test all that, but I can't leave the planet without telling my descendants about this is our lineage. This is what's going on. And you need to be well aware of all of these things. And then, but everybody's like, but Dana, this isn't just for your descendants. This is for everyone. So in that way, I'm trying to be like a grandmother to all. I'm trying to give, but in this book, I don't give it all because as much as I give in the book, I haven't spoken about it all because it's just it's too much. It's too much for me even to say this. So this is my gift. This is my legacy. As I said, I'm 62. I don't know how much, I'm planning on being here until I'm 130. But if not, just in case, you never know. I could not leave this planet without telling this story because it's a little weird.
Would you like to share an outline of the book and a story that represents the main content of the book?
Yes. So like I said, I sat there staring for 9 months, and my nephew is an actual writer, and he is actually now becoming well known as a writer. And I asked him, I'm like, how do I start? And he's like, just start doing it. It's an art. And I'm like, oh, thank you for that permission to just do it and put it out there. So I started to write, and I'm like, let's go to the beginning, la la la. And I'm like, because that's how it should progress. I think that most people would be somewhat, I don't know, might have been bored with my background. So my one son said, Tarantino it. Like the Tarantino movies. He's like, take a good chapter, like a exciting chapter, and put it at the front. And I was like, okay. So my beginning chapter starts where literally I am here in my in one of my son's bedrooms. I can point right down here to my neighbor. We were talking in the street about 20 years ago, and we're just talking away like la la la. We're two moms, with babies, la la la. And I was like doing this, like I'm talking to her, like how you have something, blah blah blah. And then I was like, how you're still talking, and I was like, oh what? And there was a microchip on the back of my neck that popped out. I thought it was a zit. I was expecting white pus. I'm sorry if that's disgusting and gross, but And she saw it and she's like, what is that? And like she pulled it off of my finger and then she had it. And we were both rubbing it very, very hard. And she's like, this is a microchip. And I'm like, I know. And we were sitting there talking and looking and it disappeared. Now, this was a very heavy duty metal thing that came out of my neck and then it just disappeared. So I start off there and then I do go into my parents, who and how and why could this be happening to me? And this goes into the shadow government because I was at the age of 8 years old, taken to Rochester Airport. Uh, I was taken out of school. I'm 8, brought to the airport. We're out on the tarmac. Here comes Air Force One. The doors open and out pop Richard Nixon and Pat Nixon, which, if you understand, Laura Eisenhower is related to the Nixons and all this kind of stuff. I mean, like I write about that in my book. But here she comes, Pat Nixon, and she is not on the dockets because I have looked this up now. She's not on the dockets of being on that flight at all or in the president's diary at all. I'm sorry, excuse me. And I still have my name tag, but Pat Nixon comes up to me and she hands me a red rose. Now, I don't know if that was a signal. We can go into all of that because there's a part of me that wonders about the shadow government. But I also believe that the ETs that came to visit me picked me out also because of just my abilities, my artistic abilities as an open individual, open to them, because I'm going to tell you the aliens and all of them that I've met, that I'm aware of 3 species. It's all about frequency and shape shifting and telepathy. This is, the other realm. And it's like, but it's those things, those modalities that help a healer when you're working with those. So you need to find and get to those frequencies, and that's how you can accelerate yourself. So I was kind of put onto that path. I didn't know it, but it's just kind of like that's what happened. It's like, being around somebody, if they're dusty, the dust comes off on you. And so that's how that happened. I hope that answers your question. A long story.
Sounding weird. Who agrees with that? Raise your hands, those who agree with that. Sounds amazingly weird. So thank you, Dana, for sharing that. Anyone would like to ask a question here to Dana in this interview?
Well, just one question, Dana. You were alluding to how you don't publicize the experiences you have of healing others. And I was just wondering, is that your decision exclusively, or is it also something which those you have helped request, i.e. not to have what you've done for them made public?
Thank you. That's a good question. And recently, I'm going to 2 parts on this one to explain a little bit more. No, I feel that when I know about somebody, usually it's like in society or something, someone will have an illness. I simply ask them, is it okay if I pray for you? Because I know what I do and who and how I am. If I were to explain it to them, they would think I'm crazy. And that is why I've stayed in the cosmic closet. They would think, oh, if I started to explain it, because they're just normal people. This is different realm stuff, what I'm working with. And I can't tell them that. So I just say simply, because I feel in integrity, I should, before I'm working on their energy and going into their body system, that's infiltrating. I ask for permission. Can I pray for you? They don't need to know. Do you know everything that the hospital is doing for you, all the tests that they're running and all those kinds of things? No, typical client does not understand the whole background of what's going on in a medical field or something like that. This is the same thing. I just ask for permission. Can I pray for you? And that's how I term it. But I just feel that there's something about the sacredness of keeping it quiet because that's way more powerful. I don't say anything after that. I don't say, "Oh, look. Oh, you're healed. Oh, that was me." I don't never come back and say that. Once I ask, "Can I pray for you?" and they give me permission, I do what I do, and that is it. And also, it's that for healers, please do not be bugging the door. Please don't be, oh, heal them, heal them, heal. Like when you put these things into motion, energy in motion, that's it. It's in motion. It's kind of like thinking about a canoe or a boat that's on the edge of the shore. Do you have to push it off 20 times? No, you push it off once gently into the water and off it goes. And that is the flow. That is the energy. So, but I don't want to poke a stick at it. I literally wouldn't be, because I think that's ego. When we start to need to get affirmations for ourselves, I don't need an affirmation for myself. I don't. And I don't think the person needs an affirmation. Like, I think that's very rude if I've said, "Oh, look, don't you feel better?" That's ego based. And all of this is non-ego based. We are only working with frequencies. To me, it's mathematics. To me, it's outside of all of these human constructs. And that's where I work. I hope that answers your question.
Got you. It does. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Wonderful. So I remember that when I worked with with a dear friend and partner, Luisa Domaraski, who works in Brazil here, she has helped over 500,000 people with the alchemic Reiki through the Golden Angels. She even worked with me sometimes. And when she performs work on some people, she says, "Yes, I detect an implant on this person, a chip that it's a type of chip that has been implanted by other low vibrational beings on this person in order to start believing they're not good enough or things like that." What's your thoughts about that, Dana?
I don't know. I don't know what this chip was. It might have been a tracking device. In my book, I say that it was, it was tiny. It didn't have that I could see because this happened so quickly. If it had any, like if you actually have a microchip and you're putting it into a computer or something, usually it'll have legs or something. Those could have broken off. But I do recall when I was probably about 3 or 4 years old, being tagged during the day by gray aliens. I recall that. Seriously, if the microchip had an implanted thought of for us to be lesser than, I don't know, but I can agree that that is my experience for my whole life, is feeling lesser than, and not good enough and all these kinds of things because I have felt ostracized. I feel outside of, I don't want to say humanity, but I've always, as a child, going through school, I felt very, I knew I was different. Like, because I was born in 62 and my birthday, I'm going to be 62. So I don't know if that's like a titanium golden or this or that. But back in the 1960s, you have to understand, I think, was it 62, 64? Star Trek just started to come online. All of these things. There were no pictures of gray aliens. There was, and I'm in the crib. I'm not watching TV. And I knew what a gray alien looked like. And I knew that they were coming and visiting me. And I knew all these things about them. And it's like, that it was not in society. So I kept quiet about it. It's almost, and I don't mean to say this, but it's like being abused, you know, or somebody breaking into your house, you know, it's not, it's not, it's not good. And so I just really felt alone. And so I feel like as a child growing up, I think there's probably research things on people who were in orphanages or any of these kinds of things where they didn't feel comforted and included. And I think that plays in very well. Now, I will have to say, who and how I am, I think this is my divine spark, and this is where the angels come in, because you need to know that I've very much aware. I've, I've been to heaven. I've seen angels. Angels have worked with me, all these kinds of things. And it's very hard for me to say that, but I'm hoping your community will understand, because that's very out there. But I feel like there was something about me, something about, even though I have a lot of, it's a hard time for me to love myself ego wise, but I think deep inside, I do love myself. And that is where my power comes from. And that is where they couldn't stop me, because I love myself and I love people. I'm always for, you know, as a healer, who is the underdog? I want to help them. I want to be there. I'm in that struggle with them. And so I think that was the tenacity and what my heart and soul is, you know, as a divine spirit. That's who I am. And I don't know if that played into why I was also chosen. But I think with the aliens, I think there's been a fight around me, because there's like these aliens, but then their heavenly realms have come in. So there's been all these battles, and I understand that. So I hope you guys can get that too.
Yes,
Anyway,
yes,
it's
yes.
a lot.
That's
That's why I called it.
yes,
This is gonna sound weird. Oh my God.
yes, yes. It sounds amazing. Actually, it doesn't sound weird for me. It sounds fantastic. And I've been getting in touch with so many people who are extremely sensitive, are highly sensitive, and they feel the energies. And since they don't have the right education, they get overwhelmed easily by external influences. And most of them, they decide not to shine, but oh yes, I would just be on the average, and decide not to shine. What's our message for those people?
Wow. I'm just gonna say this is a great time to be alive, because as I was saying earlier, I was ostracized. I was out on an island. And today we have the internet. And this is how I'm able to come out and speak, because there was nothing for me to connect with. You know, as my soul and my heart, think about that growing up, you know, and I felt so alone, but now you can reach out. And so I'm just going to say, please do reach out to me, reach out to others. And little by little, here's the network, here's the spider web. When we start to grow our community and weave the web, all these things, how strong is that? How strong is that? So please don't feel alone. I guarantee you, you can find someone, friend somebody, friend me. I don't care. You Today is exciting. Today, this is why it's different, because I told my sister when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I'm like, oh, you know, the end times of the Bible. Like, you know, this is very peculiar for a child to be saying this. And she goes, oh, every generation has thought it's been the end times. I'm like, this is different. And the thing is, you know, back then there was no computers. Well, kind of, really, not really. But, you know, I didn't know about how things are today. I mean, this is just such a blessing for us to be able to connect like this. Humanity, humans, holy humans. And so we have to take advantage of that. And so please don't ever think there's something wrong. Like I said before, you don't have to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form. Nobody is, you know, blah, blah, blah. Just go out there, and you don't have to have faith in yourself, but just be brave enough. We watch these movies about other people being brave. Take that into your heart and soul and be like, I'm just going to take that step. I'm going to be brave, and see if not synchronicities will start to happen in your life. And those are going to be, spirit saying, we're here, we're supporting you. We see who you are. We're trying to connect with you. This is part of the spider web. It's all good. And I think today, there's so much more support, and we need this because here's my big speech. They are trying to propagate fear, and that is their way for controlling us. And we cannot do that. And that's a diet that you don't want to have in your heart and soul and mind and gut and all these things and your frequency. When I step outside of my house and I see people, I see only love and happiness. I mean, I'm sorry, I've traveled the planet. I only see people and I love them and everything is well. When we look into the programming that's being broadcast, it's a fear-based thing. And I'm telling you, there are energies and entities that have come to this planet, and that's what they feed on. They feed on our fear, and they're going to play into that. So our only weapon is love and higher frequencies and joy and all these things. So, I don't care if you have the worst day. I mean, yes, be in your energies and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? If I'm having a bad day and I go to the store and I do one act of kindness for somebody, it heals my heart and it heals theirs. And then that person might go out and do more. So this is the evil plan. How do we bring down those powers? Through love and kindness. Isn't that what all the books talk about? Isn't it that? That is the walk that we need to do. That is where we need to be. And you have to do this daily. And you have to stay out of the fear about yourself, fear about this, fear. That is a lower energy limiting device that's used like constriction to control us. Come from your heart. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful world this would be. We just have to not listen to them and not let them feed off of us.
Exactly.
Sorry. I get a little passionate about it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. There's a saying here by Anna who says, don't wait for the perfect moment to give of yourself. Take the moment and make it perfect with yourself. Thank you so much, Anna. Wise words. So does anyone else want to ask a question just before closing this and then finishing this interview? Okay. It has been so weird that everyone is shut down.
That's okay. Wow. What? Are we all from Minnesota? Because in Minnesota, we're all a bunch of Norwegians, and Norwegians are just like, they just stare at you. This is why I love Brazil. Because you go to Brazil, you go to the barzinha, and everyone's like tapping on the table. See, this is the thing. This is why I love Brazil. I mean, I think in my soul, if I was like to pick a country that was really me, it's Brazil. Because, the frequency, you guys have gone through a lot of things, but you know what you do? You come in community and you raise your vibration. And that is the thing. And that is what makes your country so successful. You come from the heart, and that's why I love you so much. It's so true. Think about it. Go. Hey, you know what? Here, test me. If you're a Brazilian, go to Norway. See how far you get, because those people are gonna be like
yes. I went once to Denmark and started to smile spontaneously to people who were selling me things, and I say, "Thank you very much." And I did it like this with my natural smile, and they stood like. And I was asking myself, did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong?
Broke the conformity, Fernando. Broke the conformity.
I know.
Yes.
I don't understand. I know. But, Brazil, you have my corazón. Same thing.
Yes, thank you very much. But don't forget, I was born in Argentina in this life. And So imagine, I came here to Argentina 12 years ago, and we watched here the World Cup final, and it was very crazy here because there's always a rivalry, Argentina versus Brazil, Argentina versus Brazil. And typically, there's no one single Brazilian that is supporting Argentina's national team. And the other way around as well. No Argentine is supporting Brazil. But you know what happened in the last World Cup? I went to see the final in the local bar here, and I saw so many Brazilians say, "Hey, go Argentina champion, Argentina campeón, Argentina campeón." And I said to myself, this is gonna sound weird. And I told my wife, I saw that Messi did a miracle of
Yes. I remember
attracting
doing
even
the
the
soccer
Brazilians.
tournaments in Santa Catarina, and I was on the beach for a month, and we watched the football games, and I just love everybody like honking the horns, like in the cars, like beep, 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 and I just loved all of that. I was like, oh my gosh, and I got to dip into, because I was in Caxias do Sul. So, I got to dip into Argentina a little bit, but everything is just like, it's such a heartfelt area, all of it, and I just love all of that. And hey, that was the first time, 1980, that I saw Eurovision. I'm like, what is this? Oh my Deus do céu. I enjoyed it so much. And so I love Eurovision. And again, with the internet, now I can watch Eurovision. And so, I love all of that, it's so great. I'm sorry, and the American culture of the United States, and I want to preface, I live in the United States. People always like America, but then they're like, oh, keep the Mexicans out. I'm like, they are Americans, you dodos. Whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I just love this continent.
Yes, yes, yes. And I remember that I remember from my teacher Sujan Solar, who lives in the Chilean Patagonia, that say the following: in the next few years, things are going to become even more weird, sorry,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
more strange. And those people who are going to thrive are those people who are willing or taking already action according to ancient practices. What's your
Yes.
message about this, Dana?
Yes. Yes. And that is the thing, just to, wrap it up, because it's like, as much as I try to stay as a spiritual person, out of religious texts, we do kind of need to go back to them as a source of all of this. You become more religious it used to be you were spiritual, you left religion, but I feel like spirituality is coming back to religion, but in a cleaner, better way. And in my book, I do say some things that are very rough, that are very hard for people to read. It's not going to be easy, but I hope, well, it's my
Necessary.
truth, and I hope it's truth for everyone, because we need to come together as community to raise our energies and levels, to not be have them feeding off of our fear, because then we are a slave planet. And we are not. They don't want us to know about our divinity. We are divine. We are divine. We are all divine.
God has no religion, right?
Yeah, no. And I go to source. Yeah, I go to source. I start from source energy of love, like every source energy of every beautiful, expression, and anything outside, and then I come forward like a ray. So, like in mathematics, you have a dot and you have a ray. So my dot is source energy of all the, of all the emotions. Please no, let's not be toxic about, well, we have to be happy all the time. That's not the full expression of humanity. Okay. Just so don't be like, oh, I'm all light and love. That's baloney. No, it is not all light and love. This is the human expression. And so you start from the ray of human expression. And for me, I just look at what goes on from there. And that's where I try to stay. One day my truth might be this, but if somebody has a really good information to share with me, then I'm happy to change and understand and learn. And that's what we all have to do. Fluid frequency. And that's what this whole
Exactly.
world is about.
Exactly. Anna asked, who is they?
They, the powers that be, those that are in charge of this planet. Right. And you want to talk aliens? They are aliens.
Different
Draconians,
sorts of
Because
right?
I mean, you need to know. I'm like, look at your Bible, go into the Hindu text. I don't care. For me, look at ancient wisdom. And that's where I come from. I look at the ancient things, artwork, what's in the museums. However, I understand that most of everything that we see and are allowed to see has been, it's minimal. I think all of the beautiful things, all the great information, such as the libraries of Alexandria, all these things burned down. We've been constricted. We've been gaslit. We don't know, but there are some truths that they couldn't erase from history. And we need to, I mean, just to think about, in medicine ceremony, I saw the pyramids around the planet, This is the truth. We are all this. If you are a Christian, come on, read Genesis. We talk about the Anunnaki and stuff. Do you think they left? They did not. They are the powers that be, but there's a couple of others that are here. So when I talk about the gray aliens, they're just scrub. They're the ones that like ding, ding, ding. They come in and out. They're doing the things and stuff like that, but they're not in power or in charge. They're worker bees working for others. Just know that the history of this planet, look at it through art, because they're trying to express something to you, right? And healing is art. Everything is art. And so that's where I come from. I try to be like a detective. What are the clues? What are the actual factual clues? And I go from there. I don't believe in a lot of things. I literally don't. I've experienced a lot of things, and some of the things, like recently, I realized after I printed up my book, I talk about the firmament. I had no idea that I was talking about the firmament. I don't want to admit that I have to believe in it. I mean, these are constructs and truths that I have to come to grips with. I have to come to grips with what's going on around here. And it's exciting because I feel like there's so many downloads and new information that's exponentially coming. And maybe it's just for me, but I feel like it's happening for everyone. Everyone is getting a lot of new information, and that excites me. And I love that. And if you feel like you're getting some new information or something, go with it. Write it out. I mean, how much more exciting is your life if you play with that instead of being like a muggle and there's no magic, there's no miracles? How boring, how truly enslaving is that? It's like sleep, 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 sleep. Let's wake up, you know?
Absolutely. There's
I know
a
I talk
request.
a lot.
That's wonderful. There's something that Lysel said first. It's a Minnesotan, and then there's a question. Can you do a session on spirituality versus religion, because it resonates so hard with me? That was he or she proposed. I don't know if it's he
Okay,
or she.
so for me, there's spirituality, religion, and science. And as a baby, I knew that science was going to prove spirituality. Take for an example, so now I'm going to clear, hang on. Clearing is where so sometimes when I do energy work or something, I literally, because we are talking about frequency. When you're talking about frequency, that is science. When you're talking about cells and atoms and how they move, that is science. And that is where we examine and learn, because there's the what do they call it? It's not the witness, it's the whatever. It's where you look at a cell and then the cell acts differently. I can't think about it right now, but that's science. That's the witnessing program of God witnessing God, these things. So start to play with those constructs. And it's that, like I was saying before, the array, like there's a point and then there's a ray. A lot of times in healing, literally, if there's like a problem like in a knee, I will literally think of a point from the hip bone to the knee bone, and I just send energy back and forth, back and forth. That's not religion. That's not spirituality. That is science. And that is moving the energy systems. So this is where science and God meet. And start to work with it, and you're going to be like, yes, yes. When we work at the cellular level, that's where the energy is. That's where the energy is. And that's where prayer and where we as souls can go into and work and create with that, if that makes any sense.
Yes, absolutely. What you said previously is the quantum physics that the observer affects the observation.
Yes,
The
exactly. That's
presence
it.
of the observer.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you. I couldn't think. I'm a little
You're most
nervous.
welcome.
Thank you. Yes, it is the observer effect. Exactly.
Yes, the observer affects the observation.
Yeah, and so
And
this is science proving religion, proving spirituality, it's proving it. And like we can all get together. And when we come together in this, I understand that you know, in the past, we had to cloak our spirituality under the guise of religious verbiage. You know, there's many times where we have to call like grandfather, grandmother, all these kinds of things. We had to put them under spiritual context because, I'm sorry, excuse me, there was a time where the Christian faith was killing people for their spirituality and their
yes,
modalities.
yes.
That has somewhat gone away, but now as a group and a community, if we are working in that, you know, here it comes, you know. So it is again the three. We have science, we have spirituality, and we have religion, and we can meld the two, and that brings a lot of power. It's a lot of power.
Wonderful. Yes, religion comes from the Latin religare, which means reconnect. It's
Yes.
reconnection to God, right?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. So I'm sorry, everyone. We're just going to have to finish this gonna sound weird interview.
I know. I enjoy it. Fernando, thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you, Dana, for this beautiful space. For those who have any more questions, feel free to ask in the group chat. If it comes to the interest of more people, then maybe we can think about another future interview or another talk. Then we can talk with Dana about that. And I appreciate your presence with us, Dana, to share your wisdom. Finally, would you like to share your contact information for those people who are curious to get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook as Dana Louise. You can find my YouTubes under This Is Gonna Sound Weird. I'm on LinkedIn, which whatever, and I on some other things, but you know, just start off there. I do have a website, Dana Louise, and all those kinds of things. But you'll find me. Fernando will hook you up. You know. Thanks, you guys.
Wonderful. We can already share your contact information below in the comments of this video, okay?
But seriously, if people have an interest or have a concern or something like that, you know, here's the thing. We all need to give and help and support. And so please find me, reach out. I'm happy to answer these questions and stuff like that, because together we rise, and that is why I'm here. That's why I'm exposing myself. This isn't easy for me. You know, I mean, that's just me, because it's a lot for me, and you know, it might be a lot for many people to grasp this, but hey, we're together.
Yes, and together we rise. So thank you very much, Dana, for your amazing presence and all the wisdom that you shared. Thank you, Diane, Ian, Anna, Juan, Lysel, and thank you everyone else who is watching this live or replay as well. Have a wonderful rest of the week.
Y gracias por todos.
Obrigado ou muito grato e muchas gracias.
gracias.
Abrazos.
Também.
Okay. Bye,
Thanks, Fernando.
everyone. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye, everyone.
Take care.